Welcome to Living Healthy, making sense of a nonsensical healthcare world. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Barton Bishop. I have my doctorate in physical therapy and a board certification in sports physical therapy. We're here to bring you the most relevant and current health topics that are going to make an impact on your life in what you'll see as a fun and no-nonsense manner. You see, there's a lot of misinformation and different information about the same topics right now. But the key is that we're going to bring you a collection of guests that are not only leaders in their fields locally, but nationally. And speaking of a leader in their field, Dr. Jay Greenstein is our other host. He's the founder and CEO of Sport and Spine Rehab and Sport and Spine Athletics. Dr. Jay?
Thank you, Dr. Bishop. It's great to be here. And, you know, it was an interesting course on how we got here. We originally had done a program here on chiropractic and physical therapy and how we help our patients. And when we left, we said, you know, this is something that we really need to bring to the general public. We need to bring great health information that's current and relevant and accurate. So it's great to be here. And today's topic is a really important one, fighting obesity through fitness. Now, we know obesity is a huge problem in our country today. We see it on the news all the time. In fact, over 300,000 deaths a year occur due to obesity. And these deaths are preventable. It's the second leading cause of preventable death other than smoking. In addition, we know that it's a huge risk factor for other health conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular disease. It's preventable, and we need to do something about it. So that's why we're here today.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of genetic factors in play. In my family, I have obesity pretty rampant in everywhere from great-grandparents down to siblings. But I tell you what's the most scary thing right now, scariest thing. Did you know that as many as 17% of children and adolescents from the age of 2 are considered to be obese?
It's unbelievable.
It's really tough. So today we have a wonderful guest, a really, really bright guy. His name is Wright, and he's going to help make sense of this nonsensical world for us and hopefully help all of you fight obesity through fitness. Brian, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Brian Wright, as you said. I'm the Director of Fitness for Sport and Spine Athletics. I've been working in personal training and fitness for about 14 years. And through personal training and management, we help clients all over the DC metro area do just as you said, sort of fight fitness and find a healthier way.
So Brian, what actually is obesity? Technically speaking, what is the definition of obesity?
Obesity is defined as a BMI, body mass index, greater than 30. It's a formula based just off of height and weight that realistically is a little antiquated. But many medical doctors and insurance companies still use that formula to determine obesity.
And for you, what are you using with your clients?
In the fitness field, we tend to use more body fat percentage, so the calipers, the things that pinch the skin there. Oftentimes people might find that a little uncomfortable, but it's a really much more accurate way of telling people's body fat percentage.
Yeah, it seems that even though body mass index, BMI, is used a lot, because it's a calculation of just your height and weight, that it may not account for someone with a lot of muscle mass. I'm not saying I have a lot of muscle mass, but yeah, not bad. But my body mass index borders me on being overweight towards obesity, and I think I'm not that.
Exactly. And so you and many individuals, including everybody in the NFL, would be considered overweight according to body mass index. So for that reason, there's a little bit more accurate ways to do it. There's a whole slew of things, but for my clients, we use body fat percentage using calipers.
All right. So once we get this obesity calculated, once we figure out whether we take your body fat index, which, by the way, how much body fat should someone have?
Well, there are different formulas that talk about age and genetics and things like that, but realistically, for men, you want to be in the low teens to maybe the high teens, no matter what age you are. And that's going to be pretty healthy.
And what about females?
And females are going to be just slightly higher than that, in the high teens to the mid-20s, maybe upwards of 27-ish. Depending on the individual, of course.
Okay. So once we've calculated this, how do you fight it? How do you fight obesity through fitness? What do you do?
Well, again, there's all sorts of information out there, and to kind of cite the American Heart Association, they talk about the individual should have 60 minutes of exercise a day. Now, that's really to combat the sedentary life that most Americans live, and that's a great start, because realistically, if someone does not do any exercise, they need to go out and walk around the block. All right, but is that going to get them where they want to be? The answer is no. How my clients start and progress is through strength training. That has the greatest impact on total health and fitness.
So strength training even more so than cardiovascular training?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what about the combination of the two?
Well, there are ways to combine those two things within the same session, within the same time frame, so you're maximizing your efforts, so you're achieving both cardiovascular benefits, increased breath rate, increased heart rate, as well as affecting your body on a metabolic platform.
Now, strength training, that adds weight to people. Does it not build muscle?
It can, but not necessarily. And
Okay.
I will cite gymnasts. They are not large people. The individuals at Cirque du Soleil that do the amazing acrobatic tricks are not big people, but are incredibly strong and certainly would classify as experts in strength training.
Okay. So if the American Heart Association says 60 minutes a day, right? What do you believe? What, in your experience, in your expertise, what should people do? How often? How long should they exercise? Using what types?
Exactly. So people just can't designate 7 hours a week toward exercise. What I recommend for most of my clients is that under 3 hours per week is what's necessary. And if we can maximize efforts, we should be able to accomplish all the goals necessary, both health as well as the individual goals for lifestyle and things that they might want to achieve.
So we've got John and Steve and Sue and Sally out there in TV land, and they want to know, well, what do I need to do to get started? How do they get started?
Well, they first should obviously see if they are fit enough to begin an exercise program, so a medical clearance and or a movement assessment. That's where we're going to start everyone that I see.
What is that, Brian?
A movement assessment is just a snapshot through several different screens, several different movement pictures, for me to see if there's different strengths and weaknesses, so I can see how I would develop a program.
So you'd be able to detect muscle imbalances that might predispose somebody to having an injury, and if you can correct those imbalances, the likelihood of them getting injured while training is less, yes?
And the likelihood of them sticking to their fitness program, thereby seeing greater results, has increased.
Tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, in our experience, we see a lot of people that start to work out, start to exercise, and then in doing that, they end up getting injured, and when they get injured, they stop exercising, and it's like this never-ending death spiral. So with your type of program, with the higher intensity programs, the weight training programs, along with everything else, how long does it take for someone to see real results?
Well, the results can happen pretty quickly if you're doing the right things progressively. So all of our programs, at minimum, are 12 weeks. So that's just 3 months. Now, in the grand scheme of things, for an individual that has not had a healthy life and now can become much healthier, or at least on the track to being healthy, in a quarter of the year here, it's pretty significant. So 3 to 6 months, you can start to see some pretty significant change.
That's great. That's great. So what are some of the common mistakes that people make when they're either initiating a fitness plan or they're trying to get more fit or lose weight, but yet they just can't seem to get any traction? What are some of those common mistakes that you guys overcome?
Well, I think we already highlighted one of them, and that is maybe doing too much too soon, and oftentimes individuals get hurt. I think that's a big deterrent. The other thing is that they're focused on the wrong things. They join the gym, and they go on the rat wheel, on the treadmill, and they're there every day. They're carving out the time in their schedule, and they're doing the 45 minutes on the elliptical machine, and after 3 months they lose 6 pounds, and that's disheartening.
Sure.
And so what we do is we combine all the right things with corrective exercise, things that need to happen with the fixing muscle imbalances, and start to ignite a metabolic change through good quality strength training, as well as do all the things that we would need to do from a cardiovascular approach, and coach on the support side, coach on the nutrition side, and people see significant change in 12 weeks.
How important is nutrition in this program?
Great
We've
question.
talked about fitness, we've talked about exercise, but how important is nutrition?
Well, to simplify things, there is still some credence to calories in, calories out. All right. Now, yes, it can be more complicated, but I think in this venue here, we need to explain that if you eat a lot and move a little, you will gain too much fat. All right. So
that's what I used to do.
But you changed, look.
So if we can change just a little to say, you know what, let's make some smarter choices, and it is so hard to eat 1,000 calories of broccoli. So if we can start to say, eat some more broccoli and not eat quite so much drive-through, it really does make a big difference.
You know, you bring up a really good point about calories in and calories out, and I wonder how many people in our listening audience think that they can lose weight just by reducing their caloric intake, and that can have really bad ramifications on their overall metabolism. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Nutrition and fitness are completely married. You have to do one or the other, or rather both together. You can't not do one or the other. You can lose weight just by manipulating your diet, and that is an important thing. I don't want to undermine that. But you cannot move better. You cannot rehab joints, as you guys would know. You can't feel better and sustain that longevity that we're after without the exercise component.
So losing weight doesn't always equate to fitness, and what we're looking for really is improving America's fitness.
Improving America's fitness and overall health, and those things are interrelated.
Great.
That's awesome. All right, so let's talk about portion sizing. What can you tell us about our use of the plate and food on it?
Yeah. So what I do as a trainer, as a fitness expert, I'm trying to find tricks to help clients make changes in their lives. So certainly I am not a registered dietitian. We work with registered dietitians, nutritionists to help set up programs for individuals that need it to take a complete health picture. But what we do is we try to come up with different strategies. So there are plates that have outer rims, almost like a saucer plate. Mm-hmm. And some of those tricks can be to put food just in there and not overflowing to the edges that you might get in a restaurant portion size.
Like the buffets in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another one is, eat with your non-dominant hand. I guarantee you eat less food.
That's a good trick. I'm going to try that. I've never heard of it. That's great.
Yeah.
So, Brian, we know that people adhere to a fitness program when it's fun. So how do you make it fun for your clients?
Well, there's all sorts of different things. We do a lot of group training, and everybody responds to that atmosphere. But realistically, it doesn't all have to feel like we're training for the combine here. What we're trying to do is just have people move more and move safely, and put that together over the course of many months. So it's not about just come in and try a program for a month. You buy a Groupon pass for a month, and yeah, it can be fun, but it's really not going to get you change. So you have to play games, and you have to have little competitions, and you poke fun at yourself, and you eventually get to know people and build relationships.
That's great. That's great. It seems like fitness truly is a lifestyle. It has to become a lifestyle for you to stick with it and see the real change and benefits of exercising regularly and eating right.
Well, it was a lifestyle to get obese.
That's
so
true.
It has to be a different lifestyle to not be obese.
Very good point. Very good point, Dr. Bishop. Thank you. So, hey, thanks for being with us on this first segment. It's going to get even better on the second one, so stay tuned. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Mr. Brian Wright is going to put Dr. Bishop and myself through a little fitness exercise program.
For every pound you lose, that's 4 pounds of pressure off the knees. To find out more, go to fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to Living Healthy, making sense of a nonsensical healthcare world. So Brian, we've had some great information and we know a lot now about how to get started with this. But for those of us that don't have access to a gym or a personal trainer, what can we do at home to help fight obesity through fitness?
Okay, well, we're going to start first with body weight exercises.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind that what we're trying to focus on is strength training. So it has to be difficult enough to require a lot of tension through your body. Okay? It cannot be so easy that you could do 50 times. So as an example, I'd like for you to sit down just right on the edge of the chair. Okay, about shoulder width apart, just whatever feels comfortable there. We're going to start with your hands just up here with a good posture, and now stand up. No. There you go. Yep, we're going to get to it. Good, perfect. And then hands back out. Let's do another rep. You guys could
So we can do this 50 times.
You could easily do this 50 times. That's an example of not strength training. All right, that's a little bit more cardiovascular. Pick one leg up. There we go. Hands in front.
Uh-oh.
Stand up. There we go. Good. And then back down. Good.
On just the one leg?
No, yeah, this leg will not touch the ground again.
Ever.
Here we
Okay.
go. Let's do 2 or 3 reps. There you go.
Yeah, that's
just go at your own pace.
definitely not as easy.
And mechanically, you guys are looking good. There you go. Good. So, you guys get 50 reps now?
No.
There we
I
go.
fell in my chair when you said 50 reps.
All right, so you can kind of see that we can use body weight through balance and through greater tension, unilateral training, which means single leg or single arm, and achieve a lot of tension.
And they can do this at home.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, what's our magic number? You say not 50, but what is the magic number?
All right, so the magic number is anywhere from 5 to 10-ish.
Okay.
So if it's 12, it's fine, but you're borderlining a little bit high if you get to the 15 marks and things like that.
Okay.
You know, the little hand weights that oftentimes are sold at some of the big name stores that people always have in their home gyms, oftentimes weigh as much as briefcases or purses. All right, you're not going to get stronger lifting those.
Okay. Great.
All right, let's talk a little bit about core development. All right, everybody always wants to focus on laying on your back and doing some crunches for your abs. But realistically, we ought to think about how your body stays tight in an upright position. Okay? Well, we need to lay you down prone in order to put enough tension on your body to feel that.
Okay.
So let's go down to a traditional plank position. Oftentimes, forearm planks, that's correct. Let's come up a little higher. There we go. And now we're going to tilt the pelvis. So squeeze your glutes, that's your butt muscle, really, really hard. Come up just a tad higher. There we go. Good. And what our goal is now is to hold that tension, put a lot of tightness through your entire body for about 30 seconds.
Believe me, it's getting tight.
Yeah, I was going to say, is shaking inclusive of tight?
Okay, so right now, we're only about, what, 15, 20 seconds maybe?
I thought it was more like 25 or 26.
I think
Go ahead and relax a moment. We're going to teach the progression up.
Okay.
So this is an example of good quality core training, the way your body is supposed to work. We're upright animals, right? So this way trains your body in a good way. All right, we're going to add a little bit of motion now. It's called a body saw. So what you're going to do is you're essentially just going to come up on your toes and then push back into a little calf stretch, the muscle in your lower leg. Your body should remain very flat across the ground. Okay? Don't raise your butt up higher.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's go.
So plank position first,
Plank
yes?
position first, yes. And go ahead and slowly come forward and back. There you go. Good. There's all sorts of things to kind of watch for, but as long as you move slow and at biggest ranges of motion, you're good. You guys are about 5 reps in. We might go 10. There you go. Good.
I'm feeling this.
I
You?
absolutely feel this. I feel this from my chest into my stomach and abs, and even into my lower back, like my lats.
I'm even feeling it in my calves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and relax, guys. Now, there's even ways to make that harder. We would take a leg away, all right? And so now we have to make sure we're not rotating against those forces, so you have to hold greater tension. So there's all sorts of progressions and regressions into what someone could do just with their body weight.
It's great.
All right, since we're down here, I want to start to work a little bit more on the classic exercise that has been going on for over 100 years that people still might not be doing correct, and that's the push-up. Okay? So it's very important that your plank is solid enough to start the push-up. So a good place to start is plank training. But assuming that feels pretty good, we're going to go to a push-up.
Okay.
Now, let's first go with some wrong examples. Okay? And I'm sure that you guys have seen these, like we all have. Is this a good push-up?
No.
Okay?
Is that even a push-up?
Is this a good push-up?
No.
Is this a good push-up? Okay, we get all sorts of different options of these things. What we want to do is keep your body as straight as possible, as you would in a plank. Lower yourself down, and pick yourself back up in one solid unit. So whether you are on your knees or your toes, my whole body descends and comes up.
I notice
in one solid unit.
you're touching your nose, not your chest, huh? To the ground?
Either way. I mean,
Either
my
way?
point
Okay.
is, I just want to make sure that I don't end up changing that line. Okay, and that line that I'm talking about is shoulders, hips, and knees.
Great.
Got to be in one solid line.
Correct.
Just like our plank.
Okay, we're going to make one other comment after
Okay.
you guys give a few reps.
Okay.
No, we want you to work out.
Okay, so we got to get here.
Correct. There we go. Let's do a few reps. All right. Well, these guys are pros. All right. So we don't need to do anything too much other than I'm going to comment on shoulder position. Go ahead and relax a moment, fellas. All right. Oftentimes, you'll see people do their push-up position too far out here, and they're pushing in between their hands. So you see what this does to my shoulders up here?
Yeah.
It pulls them up and unattaches them from their big muscles down here. So we want to make sure that you make a triangle between your hands and your face.
When you come down.
Okay.
So your
Okay.
hands are essentially under your shoulders, okay, so that you come down. Now, where do your elbows need to be when you come down?
Okay, so the best way to do that is comfortable, okay? Some people like it here, some people like it a little further out, but realistically, most people will find about 45 degrees.
So
at
in the
abduction,
middle
yeah.
of all the way up and all the way down.
Exactly,
Okay.
right in the middle. There we
Okay.
go. Let's do a few more reps, and we're going to check. You guys were pretty good here. All right, let's go ahead and go. How would we make this harder, gentlemen?
Take
Can-
away a
One
leg.
hand.
Take away a leg. Let's take away a leg. There we go. Good. All right. More stability. Go ahead and relax a moment.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm feeling fit already. I don't know about you.
I'm good.
Now, we can do quite a lot just with body weight and be very productive. It really affects some change. But we've got a little bit of equipment here as an example. A TheraBand, for example, is a $5 piece of equipment that can start to add some tension to some of these exercises.
Awesome. Okay.
Now, TheraBands, they come in different colors, right? So different resistance levels?
Absolutely. So they're obviously progressive based off of your strength level. So as you get stronger, one, you can start to change up some of the exercises. But two, you're obviously going to progress up to the next color.
Great.
So I want to show just real briefly, you can do some isolation exercises with this. Generally speaking, for most weight loss clients, we need to affect the biggest muscles we can. So we're going to do more whole body motions like the squats, like the push-ups that we just did.
Because that helps to raise our metabolism up so that we can have an effect on fat loss.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And time is precious, and we want to get the biggest bang for our buck.
That's great.
Okay.
Great advice.
So what I want you to do is I want you to step on this about shoulder width apart. There you go. Let's put it over your shoulders. So this has the greatest amount of resistance because it's stretched the furthest distance from his feet. And he's just going to do that same squat that he did. He won't be able to put his hands out. There we go. And just do a few reps there. So
You
if
feeling that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I mean, you can feel this all through your hips and into your legs.
Absolutely. A little bit of core tension to keep
Yeah.
you upright in there.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
can feel it in my quads and my butt.
Big
all that.
muscles.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
muscles. There we
Yeah.
go. All right,
Perfect.
so the regression, so if you can't get it quite over your shoulders and your squat mechanics change, which of course is bad, we do not want to have poor squat mechanics, we would just hold at a little half curl. So just give it a little bit of a half curl. There we go. Good. Just like that. And so it's a little bit less resistance.
So from the side, I think it would be great for the audience to see, yeah, what a good squat would look like.
There we go. So let's go ahead and go into that squat. There we go. And he's reaching back with his hips. All right, this will move forward just a little bit. Don't worry about your knees so much. Just do what's comfortable. The way to check your squat is to sit on a chair.
Okay.
And his
But if
head is up. He looks good. He looks good.
But if my knees go like that, that's a problem.
Correct.
That's
Or
what
if his
gets people
back
into
falls
our
down.
offices.
Yes, there's all sorts of different types of things that can happen. As I said, you want to just essentially sit back on a chair.
Okay.
We don't want to go just straight down because you're right. I'll put too much pressure directly into the fronts of my knees.
Yeah.
All right. And if I go too far back, I'm just going to end up caving forward, putting a lot of it into my low back. So it needs to be that right balance.
Perfect.
And improper squat mechanics are what put people into our offices a lot. I mean, so it's important that you squat properly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is
That was easy.
this is an example of a low-cost piece of equipment that can really help supplement a good at-home program.
$5.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it's portable. You can take it anywhere.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I travel a lot.
Yeah.
You travel a lot. When we travel, you can take it with you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, an example of a piece of equipment that you might not be able to travel with is what's at your feet here. It's a kettlebell.
Hold on, that one's bigger. You take that one.
So at my team really prides itself on being experts at kettlebell training. And kettlebell training, just like many other things, really is a skill to develop. So these exercises that we're going to do here, you might not become proficient in as quickly as you would a body weight exercise. All right? The reason why is because we need to learn these mechanics.
So it's best if if somebody wants to get involved in doing kettlebells, and it's a great program, you really need to seek out the expert advice of someone like you, correct?
Even just for a few sessions, just to start to trace those pathways, those practice pathways.
Great.
Okay, so we're going to start off just with a body weight pathway trace before we get into the actual exercise. So what I'd like for you to do is just stand about shoulder width apart where you were. Push your hips backwards. Don't get too squatty. So now it's more hips backwards. Stand up, squeeze your abs and glutes. So we're in that plank position.
Oh, yeah.
We just were in.
I feel that.
Okay, so then push back again. There you go. And good. So I'd like for you guys to turn to the side here just so the camera can kind of catch that. There you go. Let's push your hips backwards. This you will find a little bit more upright. We're going to put your hips up just a tad higher. There we go. Good. And then come up and squeeze hard and strong. Good job, guys.
Okay.
Let's straddle that kettlebell. So I want it right in between your feet.
Okay.
There we go. So even more up here, up here, up here.
Oh,
There we
okay.
go. Good. So it's almost like you're reaching behind you as you find that position. Good. All right. Now before you pick it up, let's just go ahead and just touch it. And then stand back up. Find that squeeze. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab your fingertips around it. Stand up with it. Find that squeeze. This is the kettlebell deadlift. Okay. And then back down. Okay, and back up. There we go. We're all right.
Hey,
there we
pick
go.
up your weight.
And then
Slacker.
back down. There we go. Relax.
I was done.
Relax. There we go. Good. Okay, so that is the motion for the base foundation exercise, the kettlebell swing. I'm going to demonstrate real quick, and then we are going to have you guys do this a little. Okay, so just what we did was hips backwards, hips forwards, but only to a stand-up position.
Let's see this.
Hips backwards, forwards.
Makes it look easy.
My microphone just fell, so.
That's okay. As long as you didn't break it.
There we go. All right,
So
but
really
you
the
get idea.
momentum from the kettlebell is coming from your hips and your glutes, yes?
Correct. So let's talk about those big muscles in your body. Hips, glutes, hamstrings, and really drive that forward, just making sure that it's all right there.
Okay.
All right, let's try it a few times.
So we're going to put this out a little farther in front, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Let's put it a little bit further in front right here. It's called a hike position. There
Okay.
we go.
Like
When you're
football.
ready, let's try a few reps. There we go. Good. There we go. Good. Abs stay tight against that weight. Good.
I like
I feel
this.
this already.
There we go. Good. And really move those hips. It is a power exercise.
Yeah, you can feel that.
There we go.
That's good.
And relax. There we go. So let's highlight some of the key components in fitness. Flexibility training, cardiovascular training, and power strength training. Do you guys feel like you got a little flexibility?
Yeah.
Little
Absolutely.
strength?
I even
little
felt the
cardiovascular
stretch in
stuff?
my hamstrings on
Yeah,
that
you
was
feel
great.
it. It was fantastic.
There we go.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Well, folks, thanks so much for joining us on this session of Living Healthy TV. If you have any questions, comments, please reach out to us at livinghealthytv@ssrehab.com. Join us next week when we'll be here talking about sports injuries with a nation's leading expert. Thanks so much.